What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Brakecast. I am one of your co-hosts, Brandon,
And I am the other one, Jake.
and welcome to our second episode of the Brakecast. So let's kind of get started. Jake, what have you been up to this week since we've last met?
Well, I just went to a concert last night.
Oh, really? What concert did you go to?
Wetzel is a very great concert. Probably the best one I've been to, honestly.
Really? Why is that?
You know, he has a lot of catchy songs. I don't think he's ever made a bad song, and he's a great performer live. The band was great. You know, all the energy was there.
That sounds great.
It was a good show. Good show.
That's cool. I'm glad you got to do that.
Yeah, and then also Lent, just started. So
right
for that, I'm gonna admit I gave up YouTube and Instagram and Twitter.
So you're like on a cleanse?
Yeah.
Are you still doing Snap, or you just?
Yeah, I'm doing Snap still.
Just to like communicate.
Yeah.
Dude, I feel that like sometimes I'll go and like take time off from stuff like that, maybe for like a week, maybe just for a couple days. Like we have a group chat in my fraternity, like a big one. And sometimes I get sucked into there and like, I'm always typing and just reading and stuff. So I've just gotten rid of the app just to, kind of focus on other things that I'm doing instead of just always checking the group messages and stuff. Because if I need anything important, I can just check our Facebook.
Yeah, because I feel like before, every time I was like the slightest bit bored, I like, let me just watch a YouTube video real quick.
Yeah, because it's so tempting, right? You're like, let me look this up. And then you go down that loophole and it's like 2 hours later and you're in another room somehow even.
Yeah, and you just wasted 2 hours of your day.
That's exactly. Yeah.
But
for me, I like YouTube. So whenever I study and stuff, I like to do music live streams because I don't like studying or doing homework when it's completely quiet because my mind wanders a lot.
See, that's fair. That's not like the main thing I'm trying to get rid of is just like, I don't want to stop constantly stimulating my brain.
Yeah, I get that. Just kind of letting yourself be bored sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's weird. Like people back in the day, like they found stuff, and that's where creativity kind of comes in too.
Really, because that's like if you're not watching anything or like listening to something, then you gotta actually do something.
Yeah, exactly. You find some, that's like how back in the day, kids went outside and you made up a bunch of games and football and whatever. Like now you can watch all this YouTube and whatever. I watch it with like my younger sister, right? Like she's inside more often than I was. Like my mom has to make her go outside.
Yeah, for sure. Like it used to be what you did was just go outside.
If it was and hang out with like your neighborhood kids and just did whatever.
Yeah, I much prefer that to being on a screen all day.
Yeah, plus, with vitamin D and just being outside, it's good for you naturally. Like we're meant to be outside. It helps you mentally, physically, all that sort of stuff.
Exactly. It's better for your health.
Yeah. So what else have you been doing this week? Or is that kind of everything you did?
Well, got back at like 2 a.m. last night, so I didn't go to my first class this morning. That's about it though.
Hey, it happens.
There's a 9 a.m. class, so
yeah,
that's a little early for getting back at 2 a.m.
I understand that.
Yeah. What about you? What have you been up to?
Yeah. So I actually start spring break today.
Oh, shoot. That's early.
Yeah. Well, so I was student teaching this past week. My US class, we were kind of doing like a bunch of little mini projects. So one of the things I had the kids do was like make a brochure of the Second Great Awakening, which was kind of like religious revival in the United States and kind of challenging traditional Catholic views. And doing mini projects like that. I had like a little stations activity, I had a brochure activity, just kind of stuff like that. In my world class, on Monday, I actually did like a virtual field trip, right? So I found this thing online. There's a PowerPoint and you have different links to click on for Google Earth. And then you can sit around and explore. And then they answer questions based off of that. And it took the whole class period and they absolutely loved it.
Hey, I've done one of my professors has done something like that back when we had to be all online.
Yeah, but so we could see, because it's about the Byzantine Empire. So we could go to Istanbul in Turkey and see some of the stuff that still stands from the empire. And then it was just kind of a test. And they did really well. I told them if they got above an 85 average, I'd hit the gritty, and they got like a 98 average. So
nice.
Yeah. And then I also helped start a lunch basketball league. It's a smaller school, so like you can eat in the gym, and they usually play a pickup. So we actually have like a league for that now, and they have like a little student section, and we have kids that volunteer as refs, and the principal's into it. Kind of like a cool little community thing. So that's been going really well.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. Um, but primarily just been doing student teaching. We had like a date party or date dash at my house. You just bring a girl and you guys just like do whatever and have fun. So that was at my house. And it was cool seeing everyone again, just because I'm usually just busy with student teaching. I just do
Yeah.
that when I go home. I'm tired, make lesson plans, try to eat, just do whatever. So, but
Yeah.
that's pretty much all I did for the week, which kind of can segment to the next thing, which is kind of talking about tips of surviving high school, or just like things to help you out in high school, general advice. Because obviously we've both graduated, and in fact, I'm on the other side of things now. I'm trying to be a history teacher, so I kind of notice it from a different sort of viewpoint too. But Jake, if you have something you want to go first with, go ahead.
Yeah, so I feel like I don't know, maybe a lot of our viewers are around high school age.
Yeah, high school, college, about what we are.
I don't have the exact analytics for that, but
Yeah.
Yeah, so this would help. I don't know,
So we can always do a college one too.
Yeah, we could do that for sure.
That'd be good for like a graduation one.
Yeah, me too. But I'd say one thing that would help. You mentioned earlier is like getting involved in something.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what, but just get involved, because then that way you make more friends. You have more stuff to focus on besides just school.
Yeah. Because I remember my mom, she told me like I had to do something. And Jake and I both did track for our high school all 4 years. And that was a ton of fun. And we have so many memories from that. Getting to travel to different meets, messing around during practice. We never took practice that seriously.
Yeah.
And we got to meet more people too, right?
Yeah.
Like we got to meet guys that we would normally never like talk to, or we just didn't really know. And that's kind of what's fun about, like, we did a sport, and we were also in a club together.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah. And just you get to meet more people, and it's also like for sports specifically, it's kind of cool to like represent your school, right? Like you had like the Rockbridge letters. That's what our high school name was called. Like you'd have that little RB on there. And it was really cool being able to like represent. I did cross country as well. And again, it was just, I met so many people I never talked to. Like some of the cross country kids were like the band kids. So, and I wasn't in band or anything, but I got to meet a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds. So I think that one's really, really important. It doesn't have to be a sport. Like we said, you could do a club, just find some that you're interested in.
I agree, but well, I will say sports are definitely more involved. Like if you could be in a club and not do anything for that club for like months at a time, because it just depends who's running it. So unless you're like a president or something of a club, like the sports are always going to be more involved, because you do that every day.
Yeah, definitely.
You know the people a lot better.
Yeah, definitely. But this should not discourage you from a club. We're not saying that. This is what we kind of saw, at least in our sort of school, what we saw. But there's definitely, and if you're not into sports, just find a club that you're interested in, because the easiest way to make friends is finding people that have common interests.
That's right.
So if you're into whatever, like robotics or computers or whatever, like they started esports. I guess that's a sport too, but like they had the esports thing like right after we graduated. And I was like, dude, that'd be so perfect, because you probably find a bunch of people that play the same games as you.
Yeah, Fortnite or whatever.
Yeah, Overwatch, League of Legends, anything like that.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Could you imagine they did esports Five Nights at Freddy's? Like when the scoring categories was not getting scared.
Yeah.
Like you just see guys like on a live stream, just like straight mug, just walking around Five Nights at Freddy's. Like they do speed run challenge, like a no scare challenge.
There's like judges to see how
they're like, oh, look at his eyes. You like subtract points because his eyes, like his pupils widened or something.
They have like heart rate monitors.
Dude, that would be crazy. Like they check your pulse and stuff like that before and after.
I think you might be onto something there.
We might have to have a break break vlog esports team for Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, the first sponsored Five Nights at Freddy's team.
Yeah. Dude, that'd be pretty funny, honestly. Or like a GTA team.
Yeah,
Just all we do is a bunch of heists.
yeah. It's not like races or anything. It's just just GTA in
Yeah.
general.
Like strip club, who spends the most of the strip club in like a certain
Yeah,
amount of time.
yeah.
Dude, that'd be pretty
No,
funny.
there's a lot of routes we could go with that.
Yeah. Yeah, esports, we could definitely expand just to like the goofiest games that like shouldn't have an esports team.
Yeah, well, I mean Minecraft too. That's always good.
Yeah. Well, you could do, I mean, because you could even do with that, like in a serious sort of route, you could do like Hunger Games with that.
Yeah, Minecraft, Hunger Games, bringing it back to Captain Sparkles.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
those
no,
OG.
that would be pretty cool. But I'm gonna share one thing that I've sort of seen as like a teacher more is have a notebook where you take notes consistently. You'll be surprised how many people I've seen who just use like loose leaf paper, and there's nothing wrong with that because you can clip it in your binder, but they get a piece of paper, then they stuff it in their folder, and then next day another piece and they stuff it. You know what I mean? Like everything gets so
Yeah,
disorganized. Like I personally recommend having a notebook and just writing. Like I remember going to Walmart, when you have to pick up your supplies, getting notebooks and just in Sharpie writing like math, civics or English or government or whatever, or just different classes, because you'll be surprised how many people don't have it. And then when you're doing something and they're trying to study, they're like, oh, we didn't talk about this. I'm like, we did. And it's in your notes. And then when they go search for their notes, they don't have it. And I feel bad, but at the same time, I was like, I presented it. It's there. You got to make sure you
yeah,
keep your stuff because it's in the real world too. If you lose some or something like that, that could affect your job performance. That could affect your company.
yeah. And that also goes for college too.
Yeah,
Lots.
that's definitely.
I've
But high
seen.
school. Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying. Like I've seen a lot of people use laps. Like a lot of people use laptops now and don't even have any paper notes at all. I
Yeah,
just
that
can't do that.
I am a
I couldn't
huge
remember it.
yeah, I'm a huge believer in paper pencil personally. I think when you interact more and you write and you have to think and stuff like that instead of mindlessly typing, then you take the notes in better. That's my
Yeah,
personal opinion. I get people who use a laptop and if it works for them, it works. But for me, I have to do paper pencil.
yeah. And then even then reading over your notes again, I cannot read like a computer screen. Like I can't do ebooks like on a computer.
Yeah, well,
I just
that's why I just
don't
do the
focus.
audiobooks. I like those way better because if you have a long
Yeah.
drive, pop in, have an audiobook on your phone and you just drive. That's what I do on the way to and from school. I just listen to my audiobook on my phone.
All right, that's a good idea. But yeah, as far as like e-textbooks go, like I don't think I've read more than one page of an
Okay,
e-textbook.
I'll say the e-textbook's defense. I like using Control F or Command F to look for stuff.
Oh, that's true. You can do that.
Yeah, but that's the only thing. But yeah, but in terms of high school wise, you won't really have to deal with that. I definitely recommend having notebooks, and even in high school, because nowadays people have laptops, right?
Yeah.
Because we got ours our senior year. You definitely, I recommend doing notebooks, pencil, paper. I think it's way easier to organize too.
Yeah, you just get a different notebook for each class or
Yeah. Just so then you can go back and always reference it. Because I've seen people where they do the paper and then they lose it and they might lose like a crucial part of whatever lesson. And then they don't have that. And their grade gets affected because of a small error like that.
yeah. And I don't know if this is how it is for you in high school now, but for a lot of my like college classes, we have like quizzes online instead of in person. So then and they say you can use your notes. And if you have the paper notebook, it's super easy to just
Yeah.
flip to
Well,
whatever day.
that's not a thing in my high school, but like I did that in college as well.
Yeah.
Like that was the same way in college. With our, they posted on we at ASU, we use something called Canvas and they posted on there.
Yeah, that's what we use
Oh,
as
really? I
well.
think that might be a nationwide thing.
I think it is. Or at
But
least
yeah, on Canvas, you have those quizzes and you gotta have the notes. Because that's the other thing too. Sometimes teachers will be like, "Oh, it's open note," or like you take home test or whatever. If you don't have good notes, like you're not gonna do well. Like that's the easiest thing you can do in the world. It also
especially
helps.
if it's timed and you don't have
Yeah.
you don't have time to look up all the answers.
Well, and also low key, it kind of helps make the class go by a little faster because it gives you something to do. I couldn't just
Yeah,
sit and watch like a PowerPoint or something. I'd be bored. At least with notes, you at least have something to do. It's not the most fun thing, but it helps pass the time quicker.
definitely. So let's summarize so far. We said get involved, number one,
Yeah. And number
and then
two
number
was
two,
have a
paper,
notebook.
notebook,
Where's a
notebook, note.
central place for your notes for each class, not just one huge notebook. That is probably the
Yeah,
worst thing you could do.
yeah. All right, so let's see. Number three, I kind of have a tip here is make like a schedule. It could be
Mm,
on your notes app on your phone, which is what I do. But like
mm.
label it like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then like I do weekend also, and just put like bullet points on there that you can like check off when you're done, and say like, oh, this thing's due on this day, or like I'm gonna work on this, on Tuesday or whatever, and this
Mm-hmm.
thing's due, and like check them off as you get them done because it like helps you to visualize what you have to do.
No, I really like that. So I'll use I don't do that as much in college because Canvas, they have the thing there for you. But in high school, what I would do when I'd get a worksheet or whatever, right? I would put a star on it, and then I'd say homework due whenever, and then another star. So then when I take that piece of paper out, like when I'm at home, I'm like, oh, this is due then. And I would put it, I'd put it in the folder based on what's due the soonest. So if I got a worksheet, let's say I got a worksheet yesterday that's due on Monday, but then I get a worksheet today that's due on Tuesday. I put the one that I got on Thursday on top that's due Monday. So then I see it.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's a huge one, especially in college, but and
yeah,
in high school, because you'll have different classes and different things going on. My first semester of freshman year of college, I actually messed up pretty bad because I didn't have a planner like that. So I kept missing assignments. And
yeah,
honestly, the easiest way to get your grade up, and I preach this into my high school classes, is just do the work. Like if you miss an assignment, like you get 0 points. At least try to do something.
yeah,
Like
for sure.
because 0 points can really affect your grades. And it sucks when kids are like, "Hey, do you have any extra credit?" And I see like 3 zeros. I'm like, I can't offer anything special. Just get your work done. You have 3 missing assignments. You got to make sure you get your work done because that's easy points right there. Because let's say you do bad on a test or a quiz, you have that buffer of other assignments, right?
Definitely. No, that's
So
a huge thing. And even late work, I feel like a lot of teachers back in high school would uh, allow us to turn in late work for like a penalty or whatever. But
yeah,
still,
so because at the school I'm at, if it's a day late, it's 20% off. If it's 2 days late, it's 50%, and then it's zero. So even if it's 2 days late, give it to me because you can at least get a 50%. 50 is better than zero.
yeah. And this might be the policy might be different at whatever
Yeah, this isn't like a
school you're at too.
uniform United States policy,
Yeah,
but
because
so, my bad.
oh no, I was just saying I know I've had one teacher at least that let us turn in late work up until like the last day of school.
Yeah. Well,
And
I know for me, as much as I want to be lenient, I'm not doing that because I just don't want to grade.
no,
Like I
that's fair.
don't want to grade all that. But I understand if you're like sick for a week, then it's whatever. Like, you got the same amount of time as everyone else did. But after a certain point, I feel like you don't do it. And it's not like, if I was working at like a business, I can't just be like, I'll just get everything done December 31st because business would just collapse. Like if I was an accountant, I'd be like, you know
Yeah,
what? I'll get all of our expenses done on the last day and not do anything. We'd lose all of our money.
yeah, that would not fly.
Yeah.
Not in the real world for sure.
Yeah. So I guess
Yeah,
we'll kind of move on to my number four. So for my number four, is definitely talk to people in your classes, like straight up. So obviously having your friend in your class is always fun, but sometimes you don't have a friend in your class. Go and talk, like find like a class buddy, like a class friend. I had a lot of people that I didn't hang out with outside of school, but like if they're in my class, like I at least knew them and I could talk to them, right? Like you
yeah.
get what I mean?
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's good to have people in your classes too, because then if you need help with something,
Yeah,
you can
especially if
text
they're
them or
smart too. Like if they know what they're doing. Like I know for math, so there are two, like I'm so pre-calc I took my senior year. There are two kids in my class. One of them I did hang out with outside, but the other one I didn't. But she was super good at pre-calc. Like day was taught, boom, she knew it. And I sat at her table the whole year. We got really close because me, her, and one of my other buddies who I ran cross country with, we all got really close because of just helping each other out with pre-calc and learning and stuff like that. And it was great
Yeah,
because it was someone new, expand your horizon, meet new people. But B, it helped me be way more successful in class.
yeah.
And I got a better grade because of it.
And even on, you can go on the other side of that too. Even if it's somebody who you know more than in the subject, like teaching somebody how to do something like helps you learn it like way more.
Oh,
I
oh,
might.
oh man. Okay, I'm sorry. I gotta go. I'm gonna go on a tangent about this. I
All
have
right.
always preached when I've gone through like the teachers college, I've always said students teach other students better than I probably could ever. Right. So because students use slang and words that other students understand. And while right now, I'm only a couple years older than high schoolers, so I can kind of teach it in a way that they understand. Eventually it's going to get to that point. You're not catching up with trends anymore, things like that. Other students can use words that other students get better. I've always been a big fan of that. So sometimes if someone doesn't get something, I'll be like, hey, how about you ask the guy, like your partner, because he's been killing it, or the guy next to you? Because then they teach each other and they'll remember it and it sticks better in their head. So
Yeah.
100% agree with that.
No, that's facts. Because also, like other students, they have like the more similar experiences, so they can like teach it better. It's like how it'd be really hard to explain like English, like rules of English to like somebody who doesn't speak English.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
exactly.
if you natively speak English, it's going to be a lot harder to teach it than somebody who learned English.
Well, I've used like memes or like things that are on TikTok in class because they won't understand it. And then I'll say something with like a TikTok reference, and all of a sudden everyone in my class gets it. And I'm like, that's awesome. But right, let's say if another student, eventually I'll get older and whatever, another student could do that to you. And then you're like, oh, that makes sense because of that reference. So then on a test, you're like, oh, what was this? And you're like, oh, I remember that TikTok reference. And then you know what it is, or
Yeah, I mean,
whatever other reference, like sports or whatever. Like if I know a kid plays sports, I'll try to do a sports reference.
yeah. Or I see that all the time, like with other sports. If something happens, like on Twitter or whatever, and somebody's like, "Oh, can you explain
Yeah,
this to me in
yeah.
like baseball terms?" Or yeah, stuff like that.
Or there's a whole subreddit on Reddit. It's called "Explain Like I'm Five," and it literally explains like complicated concepts and that a 5-year-old could understand.
Yeah,
Being
no,
able to
that's
summarize and put things in your own words is such a useful skill in life for like
it.
anything.
It really is. Let's see. Shall we go to the fifth one?
Yeah, so let's real quick. Let's kind of go. Let's say what we did for 3 and 4, just so the viewers kind of remember.
Yeah. So, what one was be involved?
Yeah,
Two was writing stuff down, notebook.
yeah, like notes. Yeah,
Three was, man, I'm having a hard time
that was
remembering.
a
I should
planner. Remember, like
the
to-do
planner.
list.
Yes, yes, the planner.
Yeah, and 4 was get to know people in your classes. Like they don't have to be your like buddies. Obviously, it helps having friends in classes. Remember, like that our world history class. Like there was 4 of us in there, and that was
Yeah,
sick.
that's always fun.
But at the
Uh,
same time, being in a class without your friends sometimes can really be beneficial.
we can. Let's see.
So what do you got for number 5?
Well, number five, I was debating, but I think a good tip is to get all your stuff done, like in your like spare time in school if you can, or like as
Yes.
soon as you get
Oh,
back from school.
woo-hoo. Yes, yes, yes. Oh man. Here, so I'm not a big homework guy. I don't like giving it, but like, dude, the amount of times I've seen kids waste their time, like it just, on their phones or talking to their buddies. And then I'm like, hey, there's 10 minutes left of class. And they're like, oh my God, like, they're, I got to get this done. And then they're scrambling and then they give you worse work, right? They
Yeah,
give you less quality. They're just trying to get it done. And it sucks. I'm like, I give you, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, whatever amount of time. And you only do it in like 5 minutes. Like that's not quality work for me.
No. And yeah, procrastination is like, that's the thing that's probably hindered me the most in my
Procrastination
grades.
is even worse in college.
Cause like, cause,
100%.
oh yeah, but because you have more freedom in college to
Yeah.
procrastinate.
Yeah,
But yeah, like,
exactly.
I always feel like 100 times better if as soon as I like have that thought in like the back of my head, like, oh, I should do this, or like I have this thing to do. If I just do it right then like the rest of my days is so much better because
Right.
like
Or
you get that
even getting
satisfaction
ahead
of
of
like
it
doing
too.
it. Yeah. No,
Like,
yeah, getting ahead of it's really good too if you can.
yeah, but yes, definitely you got to take advantage of spare time that you've got in school. Cause I would way rather, like, I always want my students to be able to go home and do what they're passionate about or what they like, or hang out with their
Yeah.
friends. Dude, I don't want students to have like a boatload of work, but at the same time, I can't just hold their hand and be like, hey, you don't have to do anything ever. Like, there's work that's got to be done to help your learning, but it's up to you to get it done. And they
Yeah.
learn time management, which again is like another really important thing you got to learn in life.
Yeah, that's
'Cause-
probably one of the most important things
yeah, but yeah,
to learn.
use time in school. For us, we had AUT, which is that whole like free period,
Yeah, it was an hour and a half of
hour and a half
where
of
you could
just
do whatever
nothing.
you want. Some
Dude,
people just left and went home if it was
yeah,
the last class of the day.
I
But
would
I
do
mean,
that, but sometimes, if we had practice in the afternoon, I would just get all my homework done. So I could go to practice, go home, eat, and just go to bed or play Xbox before I go to bed instead of worrying about homework. Because after practice, man, you are so tired. You do
yeah,
not
you
want to
don't
do
want to.
homework.
No, it's the last thing you want to do
No,
after a
especially.
long day of practice.
Yeah. And like, or if you go before school, so whenever we had like our morning practices for cross country afterward, like I would be there. Our school started at 8:55. I'd be there like 7:30. I can get a bunch of work done.
No, I bet I never had to do anything before school,
Yeah. But like for me, like,
thankfully.
before school, I'd go, or sometimes I'd go to bed early and I'd be like, I'm going to get there early and go and do it before school, after school. But my biggest tip is when you're doing work, try to stay in school, right? For,
Yeah,
with AUT, you go home, dude, you really thinking about homework? Like I want to play Xbox. There's my TV and my bed and all this. Dude, if you're at school, you're in that like academic setting and it makes
yeah,
you want to work more. So I'd always try to stay at school as much as I can, which sounds silly, but my grades are good because of just sitting at school and getting work done in that environment. It's like working. You don't want to bring work home. I'd rather, if I'm again like working at like a business or something like that, I'm gonna go home, sit down, have a beer, and like watch football or basketball or whatever. I don't want to be making spreadsheets at my house with my kids running around. Like I want to be able
yeah,
to enjoy time with family and friends and just whatever instead of just
yeah,
sitting around and focusing on spreadsheets or homework.
yeah. The second you leave school is like you get distracted.
Yeah.
But yeah, that helps me because I have like mostly two classes a day, like right now,
Yeah.
and there's like 2 hours in between each one.
And you stay?
So like yeah, so a lot of the times, yeah, I just stay in like the same like computer lab and I finish all my homework. And
I
it
did
takes
that.
normally it doesn't even take 30 minutes to finish all my stuff. And then I can like, oh, I'm just gonna go to the gym real quick before the
Yeah.
next class or whatever.
No, I
So
get
like
that. My
stay in the zone.
I
If you're in the zone, stay in it until all your stuff is done.
Exactly. Because in college, like that one's huge. We're probably going to go over that for college too. But that one,
Yeah, we
I would
got
stay in our library. I've gotten a 4.0 in 2 semesters. The first semester I did it, I was in the library, like grinding, like just library almost every day, getting all my work done. I couldn't do it in our like fraternity apartment complex thing. Kind of hard to explain, but I could not do it. I had to go to ASU. I'd walk to the library from that apartment complex thing and get my work done and then walk back. And it was awesome because I, get a little walking and exercise in. It was therapeutic because I'd go at night, but then also just being in that academic setting again. So I could get
yeah.
all this work done.
No, that's definitely what's helped my grades the most this semester, at least. Not
Yeah.
that they were bad before then, but
Well, and I lesson plan. Like when I do lesson plans, I do it at the school. So then when I go home, I don't do anything. Sometimes I will do a little extra, but that's more of like for fun / like I'm trying to find cool stuff or find cool ideas to do different stuff than what's normal
yeah,
in a
no,
class. But like I get my lesson plans done at the school. I take care of my business at the school. So when I go home, I could I'll play 2K with my roommates. I'll just kind of do whatever.
yeah, that's the way to do it, really.
Yeah. Okay. we're gonna go to number 6. This one, like I did this in high school, but also as being a teacher, it's so important. And that is to build a relationship with your teacher. They are not just some random adult that like punishes you all the time. Like teachers are normal people. I'm trying to be a teacher. I'm a normal guy, right? Whenever I was in high school, I would try to at least talk to them a couple times or just, get to know them or, just interact with them, right? Because I've seen students who, I try to talk to everyone because I'm pretty easygoing, but they don't say too much. And I don't know how they're feeling or how they're doing until it's, test day. And I'm like, well, you should just talk to me like I'm an open book. I don't really care. Right. But the students that do talk to me a lot, they're the ones that, maybe I look at a problem and I'm like, you know what? They were close enough. Right. I was like, maybe I'll give them an extra, give them a point or I won't count this wrong or something like that. But they also are
Yeah.
the ones that usually do better. You just got to like talk to your teachers because they're normal people. Dude, like Mr. Franklin in our world class, that dude was sick.
Yeah, he was.
And we would talk to him all the time. He was a chill dude. All the
Yeah.
classes I talked to my teachers in, I probably did better in straight up.
Oh, I agree. And even like now, like whenever I see one of my old teachers in public, I just say like, "What's up?" to them. Yeah,
Yeah.
because if you actually talk to them, then it's not awkward. It's just like a cool thing. Like you get to catch up.
Yeah. Like, because again, they're normal people. You should go and talk to them. And don't be afraid to ask them for help or whatever. Right. Because I've had plenty of kids be like, hey, how do I get my grade up? And we'll sit down and just kind of make a plan. Like, legit, we'll write some stuff down. Like, I always say, just get your assignments done, but I'll be like, you need to get this done and take a look at your notes or just whatever. You can sit down and make a plan. Because if you have that interaction, you're more than likely not going to fail a class because they'll reach out as long as you reach out to them.
Yeah, and I mean, like most of the other tips, I guess this also can go for college, but
Yeah.
I guess we probably want to make that a separate video. But yeah, in college, you really want to talk to your professors because I mean that's your references also. Like later,
Yeah,
when you're trying to get a job, like those are your references,
that's true. Yeah.
and
But yeah, definitely talk to them. Talk to your teachers again because they really can help you. I love when students interact with me. It makes my job way better and way easier. Because like I'm not there just to give out homework and talk about history. Like I like history and stuff like that, but I want to like interact and just have a good time and just help them out with whatever.
yeah,
It does, and you don't even have to talk to your teachers about a subject area. You could just say like, "Oh, what do you like to do?" or sports or whatever. Like I know if I'd see like a flag or something like that, like we could just talk about the NFL or the NBA. I used to talk about the NBA with my head cross country coach, who's also the teacher. I go in his room like every morning and we just talk about the NBA for like 15 minutes before class.
yeah, and I'm sure that helped. Like,
Yeah. Well, it helped. It helps with cross country, right? Like, cause it made me feel a lot better. It gave me more motivation because that sport is not easy. But B, it's also like I never had him for a class, but like let's say they're kind of other teachers talking, like he could reach out and help you a little bit too.
yeah, oh, that is a great bonus tip there.
Yeah, that one, like, cause again, I'm trying to be a teacher. Like for me, I love when like students come and like talk to me and stuff like that, and just ask like, even just how I'm doing, but also just ask for help and just advice or whatever. Like I really enjoy that. It helps make things easier.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm not a teacher, but
Yeah,
I bet that helps.
yeah. Well, and it's also and that also can apply to your coach too. Like if you do a sport, you got to go and talk to them. Like get to know them because they will definitely help you out.
Yeah, and they'll put you in the
Even,
varsity meets.
yeah. Well, even if you're not super great either, like if you talk to them, like they'll definitely treat you better.
Yeah, and they'll watch
Your
they'll
stuff,
help
yeah.
you. They'll help you more, and then you'll end up getting better at the sport from
Yeah,
them.
because a lot of times you'll see coaches care more about varsity. And when that is the case, because it's kind of like their premier guys, dude, for example, in cross country, I was probably like middle of the pack average, and he would still give me almost as much attention as varsity. And just because I talked to him a lot, like he'd give me a lot of pointers, and he didn't have to do that. I didn't score. I wasn't the one bringing home the medals or whatever. I got one medal in cross country, but I wasn't the one that got us like state championships or anything like that. But still, though, like that, the fact that he gave me attention like that just because I interacted with him so like it was really cool and it kept me coming around. Same with track too.
Yeah, that definitely applies to track and probably every sport.
Dude, what was our freshman year coach? Who's the assistant? Weinstein.
Yeah.
Dude, that guy was sick.
Oh, he was sick.
Because
Yeah.
also get to know your assistant coaches. Because like, let's say the head coach comes and he gets mad, your assistant coach can definitely bail you out of some like terrible punishment.
Or if your head coach is gone for the
Yeah.
day.
Then he's a lot more chill. Yeah, Coach Weinstein.
Yeah, he was a real one.
I know he was in my Boy Scout troop.
Nice.
Dude, but that was sick. I think that's kind of all we have for today in terms of the tips.
I can't think of any other ones.
Yeah, so real quick, kind of to recap, tip number 1 was, what was that one?
Get involved.
Yeah. So tip number 1 was get involved, sports, clubs, whatever. Don't be a bum and just go to school and go home. Like that sucks. Number 2 was to make sure you have a notebook. Yeah. Have a notebook, like a central place for all of your notes. Make that you can reference easily. You can flip through the pages. Number 3 was have like a planner or to-do list. It helps you get things done. And it helps you feel less overwhelmed too.
Definitely.
Number 4. What was number 4?
We should have written these down.
Yeah. Man, what was number 4?
It was something about
get to know the people in your classes. My bad.
Yeah.
Like obviously you know your friends, but get to know other people too. Because again, make new connections, new friends even. Like we met people, our squad, we added more people because of meeting people in the class. And also they can help you out. And if you're trying to date too.
Yeah.
Or if you have someone who hooks you up, like with just whatever. Not trying to explicitly say anything, but just if you need a hookup in any sort of matter, definitely get to know people. Like grades, whatever else, use your imagination.
Yeah.
Number 5 was do work during school.
Yes.
Or just not procrastinating.
Yes, and take advantage of your free time.
Yes, take advantage of your free time at school, especially especially in both, to be honest. College, you have like hours in between your classes.
Yeah.
Why not get your work done so you can go home and do whatever you want? Because trust me, there's a lot going on in college. But in high school, I would rather, you have sports and stuff like that. I'd rather be able to go to practice and focus on my craft because I hated having homework. And then I'd be like, man, I just want to get out of here and get homework done. You're distracted. You're kind of, half-assing all these reps and you're just not getting better that way.
Yeah. Last one was the talk to teacher.
Yeah. Our bonus tip.
Bonus.
That one, super crucial, really good in college, really good in high school. It's never wrong. And it doesn't have to be just content based either. You could talk to them about whatever. I talked to a lot of my students. A lot of them are into wrestling. Like it's a big wrestling school that I go to. And so like they let me know how they did in their tournaments and we'll talk about basketball and football and pop culture and whatever. Just as long as you go and reach out, like your grade will be better. Honestly, you probably won't fail if you go and talk to your teachers, like to be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
In college, that's a different story. Maybe. Well, if you talk to them all year, don't wait and just email them and be like, oh my God, what can I do? What can I do? Because they're gonna be like, who are you?
Yeah. Like if you know them and then you like knowing them and then asking for like an extension on something is completely different than if you've never talked to them, you've never showed up to class, and then you just email them out of the blue, like, hey, can I get an extra day to turn this in?
Yeah. And then they'll be like, who are you? Especially in those big lecture classes.
Yeah. Which that's hard to do, but we'll talk about that in another
video. Yeah. But I think that's pretty much all 5 plus our bonus tip.
Yeah. You guys got an extra one.
Yeah, if you guys have any tips, put them in the comments too. If you got any cool tips to help with high school that you've experienced, because maybe there's something that we didn't talk about, or maybe something that could have helped both of us in high school. I know I wasn't a perfect student.
No, me neither. My grades are far better in college than they were in high school.
You learn a lot through experience, but sometimes like I wish someone would have like grabbed me at like 14 when I was a freshman and be like, here's how you do everything right.
Wish somebody would have showed me this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. I wish when I was 14, I was like, oh, thanks, Brakecast.
Yeah,
thanks future Brakecast. Us.
That would have been nice, but
yeah.
I guess
we know now, and we're gonna pass that knowledge to help you guys out.
That's right. Also, if you guys have any other ideas for topics or something you want us to talk about,
yeah, let us know in the comments too.
Yeah.
So don't forget, smash that like button, subscribe to us. This has been Brakecast. I'm Brandon.
This is Jake.
And we will see you next time.